Hello! Today we are here to discuss Robot Quest Arena. So this is one of Robert's Gen Con pickups that he was gracious enough to leave behind when he came down for our weekly game night, and wanted to get a chance to review it with Alex and Sarah. So we got guest speakers here today because this is a kid-friendly game. Definitely something that everyone can enjoy. So before we get into discussing it further, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell down there so you can follow along on all of our games, whether they be kid-friendly or not. So let's talk about the stats on this. So this was a 2023 release at Gen Con. It's got a Board Game Geek rating of 8.0 and a Board Game Geek rank of 5970. It's a 2 to 4 player game, average length of 30 to 60 minutes, and it says its age is 12 and up. I don't think that's necessary. It's definitely a kid-friendly game.
It's not.
I mean, yes, you're attacking one another. If your a child is one who gets sensitive to being attacked, that's one thing you might want to consider. But the art is very cutesy. The characters are adorable. It's not something that is going to be something that is. There's any reason that you can't play with a younger child. The iconography is very easy to understand, and the terminology, you might have to translate what the cards do to a younger child, but I don't think it's anything, certainly Sarah was able to play at 9.
Yeah.
So, designed by Robert Daughtry, C.J. Moynihan, and Paul Waite. Art is by Mike Wilcox, and is published by Wise Wizard Games. Now, the MSRP on this base game is $59.99. Now, there are character installments that can be added, and Robert bought the 2 expansions that are currently available that were I think he paid $15 at Gen Con, but I've seen them online for $17.99. I haven't seen them for $15. The Miniature Market has the cheapest price, but they're out of stock at $41.99. That's a pre-order, but it's not available to pre-order. It won't even let you do that. Boardlandia shows it as $47.99 in stock, but I'm assuming it's in stock for pre-order. And there's various other prices that are all $50 or higher from that. As I mentioned, the expansions, the Jaws expansion, the Kettle expansion are the 2 robots, and they're $17.99 on Miniature Market. Those are showing as in stock, but I don't know if that's pre-order as well. So that's basically the information I have on where you can find this. So let's talk about the quality of components. So the most noticeable thing are these robots. They're good-sized, chunky robots, and they're very well painted. I mean, they're basic paint, but they're very cute. There's 4 varieties that come in the basic game and 2 expansions. This is one of the expansions. This is Kettle, because he looks like a kettle, presumably.
That's true.
You get some of the standard kind of Terraforming Mars style cubes and the standard Ascension style gems. The card quality, he's got them sleeved because you can see they're slick finish. There's no linen finish to them, but they're good thickness. But yeah, if you're going to play this a lot, you'll want to sleeve it. Robert bought the custom sleeves. Obviously, the only problem with custom sleeves, they look nice, but if you ever get expansions, you have to find more sleeves, and then you end up, if you can't find the sleeves, then you end up going to clear back ones anyway. I always stick to clear back ones myself, unless I just see something just catches my eye that I can't pass up. Robert obviously chose to buy the sleeves. Then there's a bunch of cardboard components for tiles on the board. And then a oversized board map, which is really nice. It has to be oversized because of the size of the robots.
Yeah.
So they'll all fit on the board. As far as, it's definitely an eye catcher when you see the robots on there. It's very similar to a BattleBots style gameplay, but the robots just look adorable. I'm probably, from my perspective, I'm going to give it a 7.5. I think there's nothing outstanding apart from the robots, but they're really outstanding. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that all of the robots, they have a sleek design to them, and they're really adorable. I am really liking these robots. The other pieces, they're pretty decent too. I like that the cards are sleeved and all. And
Yeah.
Well, the sleeves are an add-on, but yeah, I mean, they definitely, you'll want sleeves for this. They don't necessarily have to be the Robot Quest official sleeves, but, Rob went all in for this to get the sleeves with it, too.
yeah, so I think that 7.5 is fair.
All right, Sarah?
Personally, I like Pug the best. He's a little doggy robot. He's so cute. The cards are, again, with the fangs, they're really good. The tokens are regular. I like the diamonds still.
Mm-hmm.
So, the cardboard's pretty good in my opinion. And then the robots are top notch. So I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay. Talking about the theme, so this is a battle situation where robots are fighting one another to the destruction or knockout. There's no death, but the knockout. Given that you don't have any violence really, it's just playing cards to remove health meter, and then they respawn basically. And it's a fun theme. It's you're building up your deck of cards. It's definitely a deck builder. You're getting the card art is really cartoonish and cute. You're getting guns, but the guns are so cartoonish they don't even look like guns. They look more like Nerf guns than they do real guns.
Yeah.
So again, it's not something that I think anybody would find objectionable for a child. Because it's there's nothing that's that ultra violent about it. If you're watching Looney Tunes or any of the cartoons,
it's
going to be that same style. It looks like an Acme device, So I think that they've done a good job integrating the theme into the gameplay and making it a friendly thing for everyone. So from that perspective, I'm probably giving it an 8. What are your thoughts?
For the theme, again, I really like the robots, and it's just a more detail on the things. They have Pug and Raya. Pug and Raya.
Yeah, Raya.
Yeah. And then they also have Kennel and...
Yeah. Kettle, Bianca, and Anika.
Oh, that one has 3.
They're essentially the people that control the robots.
Kind of like the Pokemon approach, having your boss and the character and their fighter.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
So I think it's just super cool. I love the theme. I'm gonna be more generous than you.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5.
Okay, that's not that far apart. Alex?
Yeah.
It's still pretty generous.
I think that just like I said, the characters are really amazing, and as Sarah brought up. Like some of the drawings that you get on these cards right here look really nice. If I was to just like hit it on anything at all, it would have to be just like some of the cards are like, well, not some of them. Like the cards, they kind of have a standard background. It's just sort of like your standard card background.
It's all black.
It's all black.
There's no, the foreground, you've got a border that's kind of like futuristic looking, but the card's backgrounds behind all the shapes is just a pure black. So it stands out nicely, but it doesn't really add to the atmosphere of the game. I agree. Yeah,
so, and that's really just nitpicking, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was to give it something, I would give it an 8.5 like Sarah did.
Okay. Moving on to the rulebooks. The rulebook has a nice cover on it. It's a 14-page rulebook in large print. Very cartoonish also in the way it's written, and they got little art with the battles going on with little robots fighting in it.
You are fighting.
Yeah. So, it's a cute rulebook, easy to read. The biggest problem with the rule book, though, is it doesn't have all the rules in it. And that was what was frustrating, because we started the game out, and I had read through the rule book, and I thought, okay, I know all the things there is to know. We're ready to go, because it's not that complex of a game. And then we start getting cards that are referencing upgrades, and cards are referencing things that are not in the book at all. And as it turns out, there's little cards that have added rules to them that were in the box, but there's no what reason they needed to not be in the rule book. So it was almost like they were an afterthought. They wrote the rule book and then like, oh, we want to add this feature. And instead of updating the rule book, we just created these little add-on cards, which was kind of frustrating because didn't know they were in the box for that purpose, and it really, I spent a long time looking in the rule book trying to find these rules, and we had to then go back and like, wait a minute, what's this card over here? Oh, it's the rules for that add-on, but it's not an add-on. It's part of the standard box. That I don't like the way they did that. To me, it's only 14 pages. Go in and add another couple pages and add in all the rules, that were in there.
Yeah.
And especially since some of the pages in here, the rules only go to page 7, and then it goes through a sample turn. Then it goes to additional rules for 2 players and teams and how you can, play different scenarios. And then the character bios, which just gives you basically the same information that is on the card with a little backstory for each character. And then again, it's only the 4 characters that come in the box. Otherwise, you're getting it in each one has a little card for their character in there that says the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then there's a term glossary, which is where I spent a lot of time searching for these terms for upgrade. Well, there's no term reference to upgrade in here because it's not in the rule book. And the same for the, the defense, the shields. Yeah, there was no reference to those in here either on how to treat those. But, so we were thinking you put them into play and then you thought they went away at the end of the turn. Well, they don't. And, there's special rules for how they disappear throughout the game. But all that was on the card and not in the rule book. So given that, I'm going to ding it a little bit on the rule book. I think it's a clear read. Other than that, I think they've done a good job on making it simple to get into the gameplay. But because of that, I'm going to give it a 7. I'll give it a 7.5 just because I think it is good enough on the way it's written to make it so it's clear to read. I just wish they'd incorporated all the rules. So yeah.
So next is gameplay.
Next, we talk about gameplay. So this is a deck builder. So you have a basic starter deck, as usual. Most deck builders, you have 8 cards that have batteries, which are just kind of like your buying power, but they also serve as movement in this game.
Yeah.
You have a hammer, which is your basic weapon that you can pummel people with. And then there is a special move card that lets you move 2 spaces, and it also lets you kind of jump over obstacles with it, which is nice. But that's all you get in your starter deck. And you draw 5 cards shuffled randomly out of your 10, and that's your starting hand. And from that, you can use that to move or to buy cards, and then ultimately any of the weapons to attack people with. You can also use the movement to bump people to get them out of the way or to push them into obstacles or walls and do damage that way as well. But it takes more movement to do that. So basically everybody's got a health meter consisting of these little cubes, and depending on your character, you'll have a certain number of cubes. Most of them have the same number, but like mine was a tank, so he had more health. His only special ability was it took more to push him, but he didn't really have any other special abilities. So it really depends on your style of play, which way you want to go with your character and what's obviously available as far as the choices. But then there's different terrain on the board that you either spawning locations, which in the basic game they spawn on the 4 corners of the board. And then there's barricades where they're obstacles you can't go through. You have to move around them or use that special double move to jump over them, basically. And then there's power-up spaces that give you abilities, like they'll give you one where you can trash a card, or you can start with an energy on the turn, or a healing one. And then there's one that lets you draw extra cards. So those are the basic ones that are out here now, but there's also additional tiles if you want to vary your gameplay. So they give you different abilities. You also have an area of buying. Typical to a deck builder, you have 3 decks of standard upgraded cards that are upgrading your basic cards from the beginning of the game. And then you have 6 random cards from the draw pile, which are better cards typically, but they cost more money, more energy, I should say.
Yeah.
In this. So on your turn, you spend your 5 cards, you upgrade, you attack, whatever you want to do, and then it's the next player's turn. Goal is to collect energy from your opponents by hitting them or knocking them down in their health, each meter becomes a victory point for you when you hit them. And if you take out their final one, it's a blue token, and it's worth 2. So it's worth double if you're the one that does the KO on the robot.
Mm-hmm.
And the robot then gets removed from the board, and then on the next turn, the person respawns at one of their spawning locations. So, Sarah, you had an ability that lets you spawn differently.
Because I got to spawn in the middle instead of on one of these plus signs.
And the middle section gives you a special ability too, because at the beginning of every turn, it's kind of like King of the Mountain. If you're in that space, you can take a free victory point if you start your turn in the middle section. However, in the very middle, there is a tack space where if you drive over that, you take 2 damage. So you've got to be careful in the middle, because if you get bumped into that, it could cause you some damage. And, Alex, what was your special ability, your character?
Kettle has a special ability that essentially lets him spend 2 energy to repair himself for 1 wrench, which is like his health, and also gain 1 victory point. He also gets a card called the Kettle Shield, which lets him get a card that basically gives him a shield at the start of his turn, gives him like a victory point. So, he gets an extra card, which is pretty nice.
Mm-hmm. So, like I said, every one of these has a different style of play. Mine, like I said, didn't have any real upgrade power. He was a beast to knock around, and he could take a lot of damage before he was KO'd. So, that said, they ended the game by KOing me. I think it was the first time I got KO'd the whole game. This was at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
You all dogpiled on me.
I did that.
So, So, I mean, this is, it's unusual for the kids to both want to, I say kids, Alex obviously is no longer a kid anymore, but, he's still a kid to me.
I'm a big kid. No,
I'm kidding. So, so it's unusual for them to request to play a game, both of them. So, given the fact that they both enjoyed this a lot, it's one that we're going to probably ultimately end up adding to our library. So, Robert, again, is costing me more money, darn you. Obviously, it's one that, we thought a lot of. Now, as far as my score on gameplay, I think there's a lot of games in this genre as far as like Robo Rally, and there's other ones that allow you to maneuver. Robo Rally is more of a programming game. This one being a combat one is kind of unique. It has, I wouldn't say it's like Advanced Wars, like, what you and I play a lot. It's because you only have 1 unit and you don't get more units. It's not about acquiring and purchasing units. So I wouldn't call this more like a battle or skirmish game, like where you actually inventory and build more robots or build out your forces. So it's completely tactical game. It's not strategic, but it is a lot of fun, and it's a quick little, you can get it out and play quickly and have fun just, bashing each other with your robots and, playing King of the Mountain in the center. Yeah. And the fact that they do give you varieties of way to play with having the death match or the, I would say death match, KO match, and the partners playing teams and so on. I think that's fun. I think it's a good solid entry into a combat game or a battling skirmish game, and I would probably go ahead and give this one an 8 as far as my score.
I like this one a lot because this is one I can play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a really fun game in my opinion. So the gameplay, it's just everything combined that I love. So...
Well, there's no unicorns in it.
Oh, yeah.
Or butterflies.
That's true. Well, it's everything violent that I
love. That seems appropriate.
Yeah.
That's my girl.
So, I beat their butts. I got 34. And you got 17 and you got 22.
Mm-hmm.
So...
And who won the other day with Robert?
Robert.
Oh, so he won that one.
me and Alex had that one time.
Mm-hmm.
But I beat their butt this time. I was like, hey, yeah, I was mostly bashing him.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Well, we didn't have the little fights. By little, we beat a lot. But I like this in general, so personally, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 9. Or 9.
9 out of 9?
9.9! I'm going to give it 9.9.
Almost a 10, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just
Okay,
that one
so-
point that can have butterflies and unicorns.
Wow, you really liked it. Okay, so yeah, I really enjoyed this game. I thought it was really fun. I will say that it is very simple, so simple that really anyone of all ages can play it, I would say. I would say, like, my personal favorite game of all time, like, considering, like, board games or video games, anything like that, is Fire Emblem. This reminded me a lot of Fire Emblem, except you have one unit. So it's kind of like... it's kind of like Fire Emblem if you mix it up with, like, a deck building game. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I do think that if you were wanting to make it a little bit more complicated, you could definitely add some ways to get, like, end of game points, like end of game victory points or that sort of thing, or add maybe some more type of cards or something like that. But like as a base game, I think that it's simple but very fun. I would give this an 8.
Okay. Well, that is our thoughts on Robot Quest Arena. So if you got a chance to pick this up at Gen Con or since, let us know what you think of it. Or if you've got any skirmish type games that you think are just outstanding, let us know what those are. You know, especially ones that are family friendly, because, you know, it's good to have a variety of games that we can include everybody in. And, you know, I've got a few on the way. You know, I kickstarted the one that's very similar to what we thought Advanced Wars was, that I'm excited about. Super excited for that one to come in. And we got the Borderlands game coming too. That's going to be another one that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'll definitely be part of those too.
Yeah, so but that one won't be kid friendly, I don't think, so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got several coming. But yeah, looking forward to getting a few of those kind of skirmish games down. I've got another one we are previewing that, you know, we'll be featuring here soon. So we don't play a whole lot of those, but lately we've gotten a few here that we've been giving a try. So look forward to seeing those coming up on the channel here soon. So until next time, talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.